Hello everyone, welcome to our Photoshop class. We want to help you get ready for tonight's class, so here's how to set up. First of all, answer your homework quiz, available at the back end of your course. Next, if the zip file is already available, please download and extract it. Please make sure to install all the fonts provided before opening the PSD in Photoshop. However, if the zip file is not yet available, please don't worry loves, our customer happiness team will definitely update you in the chat once the zip file is already available. Have your second screens ready so that you can follow along and share your screen if you need help. It's that easy. So if you have completed all the steps, please drop a 100 in the chat. If you're just observing, meaning you'll only be listening, drop us a 4 in the chat. For our class, we'd like to remind everyone to please make sure that your setup is ready before the class starts. Secondly, always click Meeting Group Chat in the Zoom chat drop-down so everyone can see your messages. Please turn off your camera for faster process in Photoshop, and lastly, be sure to keep those mic muted unless the coach calls you to participate. And also remember, it's very important. Do not start working in the template, we must move together as a class. No one should be working ahead during our class. Thank you all for your cooperation. Now please hang tight loves. Our class is about to begin.
I paint the sky with a whisper loud. A brushstroke cuts through every cloud. My thoughts run wild, no change, no bounds. Electric colors in a concrete town. I'm the architect of my own spark, a firework igniting in the dark. Creativity is my superpower. Turning dust to gold in the final hour. I build a world with a single thought. No cage, just dreams. It's all I've got. I bend the rules like a melody bends. Snap a rhyme, make the broken man. A kaleidoscope spinning in my chest. This canvas bleeds, but it's my best. Ideas collide, a thunderous roar. They crack the ground and break the floor. Creativity is my superpower. Turning dust to gold in the final hour. I build a world with a single thought. No cage, just dreams.
Keep doing things that you love. Innate Academy is always here to support you.
What's up, my loves and fellow creatives? Welcome to our makeup Photoshop class, where I'm going to give you a little bonus time as well, as long as we have the opportunity. I wanted to show you all how to design a desk wrap and kind of also give you some insight into how you would create them for whatever the desk is, whether it be a DJ booth, it could be a standard table. The one that I have here is for a DJ booth, a certain size, but I'm going to show you how to create it from scratch, resize your own, and then reuse the elements if you want to reuse the elements in order to resize this for whatever the table may be. Now, I want to see, have you all seen these before? They are basically, it's a coroplast, but what it is scored and bent so that it wraps around three sides of a table. Usually doesn't go all the way around, although it can. It usually leaves the back side open, so you can slide a bar back there, you can have a table back there, you can even have all your little messy stuff, all your creations up underneath the table, have a nice little tablecloth. And then what this does is it creates a facade, and it has structure and it has a design for it. And I've been doing a good deal of these for events, whether it be for, let's say it's a conference and the individual vendors have their booth set up. This is great for that. I think it looks 10 times better than a tablecloth. And I've actually done events where I have had custom tablecloths, the stretch tablecloths printed edge to edge. And this coroplast wrap beats even those expensive cut and sewn the stretchy tablecloths. Okay, like this gives it a little structure, it gives it a look that you're not going to necessarily get when you have seams and that sort of thing. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and take you into this product here. This is our booth here. Now, this is the mock-up, but I'm going to show you that the mock-up actually has the design file into it as well. And let me turn on my layers here. Get this out of my face. Make sure that y'all can hear me. Let me know if y'all can hear me in the chat. Sometimes I get to carrying on. All right, so this is what I'm going to do. I already have this one that is the appropriate size for the DJ booths. And let me show you which one I use this for. As a matter of fact, hold on just a moment. I'll show you some actual examples before we get going. If I can get all these different screens out my face. And I did go to upload the Automizers last night. Podia would not let me download them. So I will do, when I'm done teaching tonight, I'm going to see if I can do an alternative, maybe even going through the drive to see if I can get you all that file without having to. Podia has a 5 gigabyte limit, and it would not let me upload it. And I didn't realize that until I tried to upload that thing. Well, I didn't try to. I didn't upload it. I did my best to upload it about 8 times last night until I figured out it was just timing out each time. And the file would not upload to the Podia platform, which is who's hosting our website for the classes. So I was a little upset about that. However, I think I figured out a solution to it today. So I will make sure that you all have that file. All right, so I didn't forget about you. Trust and believe. Your girl was over here about to pull my hair out till 2 o'clock in the morning trying to figure out why that file was not uploading. All right, so I'm gonna do let's do Let me see if it's, I think there's an example of it on my Instagram. I don't do enough of posting on my Instagram, y'all. I'm telling y'all, okay, look at Mo. What are price tables? Let me go home. And oh, maybe I gotta go to my profile. Okay, so this is a facade right here for the stage. It is pretty much the same type of idea. That is a coroplast facade on this Great Gatsby theme here. I want to show you this one. I know I did a DJ booth there. I think you'll see the DJ in there. I don't know if it'll let you listen to the music. I'm turning music off as a matter of fact. It won't let me speed up. Okay. This is a lot of the products that you see in this design Automizer. You see the accordion wall. This is the backdrop that is not, it's actually not a vinyl banner. It's 3 foam boards that are spliced together to make one sturdy backdrop. This is a 12-foot by 12-foot arch. These are cutouts. These are the signs that we had in the background there. Some beautiful creatives that helped to put this together. The DJ, oh, of course I didn't show the DJ booth. That was the DJ. The DJ booth was designed exactly how I'm going to show y'all the design today. There's another arch there with the balloons, the cards standing up there. That's I think the accordion wall, and me probably having 0 sleep, but still pulling through. And then this one I think has, has a circular backdrop. That's the same coroplast board. This one I think is the bar wrap. See how that's a bar wrap. Now this is a bar wrap that's inset inside of the contour of the bar, but you can also have a bar wrap that stands up on its own and pretty much covers up whatever the table surface is. So this is just showing you how I'm using this stuff in real life, and then I break it down and show y'all how to use it. And my whole goal is just to not have y'all half-stepping, not have y'all stepping out there feeling like you got to charge crafter prices, because you all are doing professional level designs. And all these things that I showed you so far have all been for millionaires. Like all 3 of those projects I showed you are for millionaires. So if I can design for millionaires, you can design for millionaires too. And I'm just gonna put you in on a little secret. They don't like to spend any more money just because they have it. Okay. So it's not that much more fun designing for a millionaire than it is designing for somebody who just really wants a flawless event and who's willing to pay for it. So we could talk about that message at a later date. All right. I just wanted y'all to see that this is a real project. This example of this came from something that I actually had to produce for a major event. All right. Okay. So let's go ahead and first go over the not so pretty part of this, which is you got to get your measurements. Okay. The first thing that an event designer wants to do, an event planner, is they just want to see the pretty things. They want to see things pulled together. They want to see it. They want to see the wow factor. However, as a designer, you're going to have to make sure that you have the dimensions, that you know where things are going, what things are going together, because what'll happen is, and y'all tell me if I'm wrong, if you've already worked with event planners before, it'll be this back and forth. Oh, I need this, and oh, I need that, and oh, I need this. And what happens is they're piecemealing those things together, when the entire time if you would have known what the plan was, you would have priced accordingly. So I want you to know that I charge basically a setup fee, like an upfront setup fee, and then each additional piece that I have to design, I charge more for it. So if they come back and say, hey, you did that beautiful backdrop, I really like how the floor wrap went with it. And I've had this happen before. Matter of fact, I did a beautiful backdrop. You all have actually witnessed it and used it as a template. And then it was like, oh, can you just reformat that real quick as a floor wrap? No. Because when I open my computer up and I open that big behind file up. Well, it's not that big because, you know, I design into 15 PPI with the smart object, so I know what I'm doing. But if I have to reformat it, change things around, the way it looks as a backdrop is not the way it's going to look as a floor wrap. And if it was just that simple, you would just tell your printer to just print it as a floor wrap, right? But it's not that simple. That means it needs my revision. It needs my invoice. Okay. Now I'm telling y'all this because I've been through it. I am not judging you. I am you. And I can't even say I've been you. I'm still you. Because a lot of times if I'm getting caught up, you know, with some of these millionaire clients, sometimes I just want to see the work and I just want them to see it. So I'm willing to do more work for less. And that's not great. That's not good for setting the standards. And it's definitely not great for compensating yourself for your time. So what I'm saying is with this setup, yes, you may have designed a backdrop, but if you're going to design a desk wrap or floor wrap or even the treats and all of those different things, please make sure you're charging an upgrade to their package if they did not originally pay for that design. Okay, it may be the same exact elements, but it is not the same work. All right, okay, done preaching. Let's go ahead and for this particular one, I'm also going to show you how to mock this up. All right. So just showing you, this is already a template. Let me show you the DJ booth. I'm going to give you some examples. I'm just Googling them now. The booth that this wrapped it was on Amazon. All right, it looks like this. It's just a wire frame. It's not very attractive. It has little holes in it so that, you know, whether you have your speakers in front or behind it or whatnot, it can still let that go through, let your equipment breathe, like if you have computers and that sort of thing. This is something that a lot of DJs purchase. They travel with it. It folds up. It's even modular, like you can make it wider if you need to. So this is a very popular type of product. All right. My goal was to create something that wrapped around the front of it. And I like to make my desk wraps a little bit higher than the actual surface. The reason why is because it kind of hides what you may have on the top of that surface. So let's say you have some pens and some paper and maybe your sub sandwich you done set up there or something. At least the facade covers whatever's on the surface there. You may choose to cut it exactly to the dimensions, and that's up to you too. Okay. As a matter of fact, that's what this DJ booth does naturally. It has the table surface down here, and then it has an elevated facade so that you don't see all of the equipment and the cords and all of that stuff that's down here at the bottom. All right. So what I did was I took the actual dimensions, and this is something you're going to have to do. Don't be shy. You're going to have to talk to your whether it's the event planner or whoever you're doing the project for. It might be the DJ him or herself. You're going to have to talk to them and say, hey, I need you to get some measurements for me, or send me the link to the product that you purchased. And that's what mine had to do because I didn't trust him. Not say I didn't trust him. I don't want to say it like that. But you know, when you're waiting on something like measurements, I didn't want to wait on somebody to get a tape measure, get measurements for me. So I said, hey, can you just send me the link to what you purchased? And then I was able to get the dimensions from that product. And typically, if you're ordering from Amazon, it has the dimensions on there. Like this one says that it is 41.3 inches wide. Let me just click on it to see if it'll, there it is. Well, geez Louise. 45 inches high. This might even be the same style. I just randomly clicked on this one. But now that I know those dimensions, what I did was I created a square for the sizes. So I'm going to do exactly that, except I've already done this for this DJ booth. So this DJ booth was 44 inches for the front part and then 47 inches high. So this is very slightly different, just a little bit different size, but almost identical. 21 inches wide by 47 inches tall up here. So I'm going to show you how I built this for a table. All right, which a table is going to be very, very, very common. Let's say, for instance, you're going to do, and I'll choose Walmart and choose a table, a folding table. All right. And most of the time, there's going to be a 6-foot table that's for events. It's going to look probably a little something like this or this. Of course, if you have a smaller, more narrow table, I actually have a few of these tables. I have a couple of these as well. And then I have some 8-foot tables. So depending on what table I'm going to bring for my facade and how I'm setting up, that's what you're going to do. You're going to go directly with those dimensions. So let's choose, like I said, this one is probably your most standard, this whole banquet style table, 6-foot table. Even if you go to events and they are providing a table, typically this is the type of table that they're providing. All right. And what I'm looking for is I'm looking for the one that has my specs on there. If it doesn't tell me the specs, there it is. That's what I'm looking for. So it says it's a 6-foot table, but 6 feet is 72 inches, right? So the actual width of this is 70.9. So you're going to have to keep that in mind, that basically it's 70.9 inches wide. I was just round that up to about 71. The width of the table is 27.6. And the height of the table, which is pretty much standard table height, is 29. Usually 29 inches is your standard table height. You have bar height and there's one more height I can't think of, but one of them's 32 inches. But anyhow, I just need you to know those numbers, know those figures, because you're going to have to figure out, do I want my facade to cleanly reach the surface of the table, or do I want it to be taller than the table so that way, you can kind of hide things on the table. If you're displaying the things on the table, then you want your desk wrap, pretty much you're going to put a tablecloth on here, maybe just a plain old black tablecloth. And then that way, when you add the wrap to it, you can either add Velcro to really make it stay into place, or you can just lay it up against the table and even use a double-sided tape that you could take off and throw away later. But you want to have something that basically allows it to kind of sit in place and tack onto the table. Sometimes people do them freestanding, meaning that they just stand them up like they would the science fair boards. But I've seen that backfire because people's shirts or something grab it and then it hooks on and is kind of pulling your design from up underneath you while you are doing your best to display your product. So it's not like it has to be screwed in. It requires no heavy machinery or anything. I just want you to know pretty much what that setup entails. All right, so now that I know what the table size is, this one I'm not going to do taller than the table because I did my DJ booth taller than the booth. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do this one pretty much right at the height. So it's telling me that this height is 29.1. And then the length, I guess you can call this a length or the width of the table. Let's call this the width of the table, is 70.9. So let's go ahead. I'm going to show you how to make this from scratch, and then I'll show you how to just move all of these elements so it makes sense, okay? So File, New. And what I need is for the width of this, I told y'all it was the 70, basically 71, but it's not just 71. You also have to add up what the sides are as well. So here the side is 27.6. You have to give yourself a little extra tolerance because you're going to slit and fold this so that it wraps around the table. I'd rather have a little bit too much coming off the side than it fall short and it look funky. Okay, so if this side here is 27.6, I'm going to give myself at least 2 inches on this side here. So 27.6 will be 29.6. I'm just going to go ahead and round that up to 30. All right, so I have in the front, my front is pretty much right on point, but my sides are going to be longer. If I make my front part longer than it needs to be or wider than it needs to be, I'm going to run into issues of how this sits up by itself and whether it's able to attach to the table. So the front length I'm going to keep, and I'm basically just showing you the math. So it's going to be 71 plus, I believe I said I was going to do 30 for the sides. Where'd it go? Okay. 27.6. I'm going to add 2 inches, so that'd be 29.6. Yes. So basically I'm adding 2.4 inches in order to make this 30 inches for the sides. So 30 plus 30, and I'm just going to do the math here just to make sure I'm not making any live mistakes. All right. So 71 plus 30 plus 30. All right, so that's 131. That's going to be my entire width, 131. Now I have to remember what my breakdown was. So 71 plus 30 plus 30, and measure twice, cut once is what they say. So I'm just going to make sure that this makes sense for me. 30 and 30 plus 71. All right, and the reason why I say 71 is because this is only 0.1 underneath 71. All right, now for the height of the table, remember, you have to decide whether you want this thing to be taller than the table and cover up whatever you're going to have on the tabletop surface. Like, let's say, for instance, you have like a little cash register or something, and you don't want everybody to see that. Then you make your facade taller, and then you hide a lot of that stuff with the height of the facade. This one, as I stated, we're going to do right at the top there, and we're going to go a little bit higher. So this one is 29.1. I'm going to make it about 1 inch taller than. Now, what 1 inch will do, it will give you enough to where you can kiss cut and trim it right at the height. Also, if you have uneven grounding, it'll give you a little bit of playroom with trimming there. All right, so this, instead of 29.1, I'm just going to go ahead and make that an even 30. All right, so now my height is just going to be 30. Now, when I initially set this project up, I'm going to set it up at 150 pixels per inch because I want to go ahead and have all of my elements have that native setup. And then I'll use my smart objects. And eventually, before I save my final draft of this DJ booth, I'm going to bring it down to 15 pixels per inch. But right now, this is my setup. Color mode is RGB. This is going to be transparent background. My color profile I use is the sRGB, or the working sRGB. Let's go ahead and create. Now this looks super long. Let me show you my next step. Then I get the rectangle tool, okay? Now we have to remember our measurements. One of them was, the width is going to be 71. And I have to put I in for inches, otherwise it's going to give me pixels here. And the height is, did I say I was going to do 30? I believe so. I'm just going to check my measurements here. Yep. So 71 is the width, 30 is the height. I'm going to say okay. All right. And it made a box, it made a rectangle exactly that size. So I'm going to label this as 71. I always do my width first. And then the height next will be 30. And I'm going to call this the front. All right. Then I'll click and make another box. And this one I'm going to make 30 inches by 30 inches. And what I like to do is I like to change them. Each of them have a different color. Just helps me out a little bit. And this one is the 30 by 30, 30x30. I'll call this the left, and then I'll duplicate it and call that one the right. And what I'm doing here is I'm just using this in order to help me visualize what space I have, and also where I'm able to place graphics. So I'm going to go ahead and center all of this down the middle, horizontally and vertically. I'm going to bring this up, do Control A, just so it gives me the marching ants of the entire artboard, and then I'm going to center it there. Now my left piece, Do Control D to deselect that. Left piece. I know this is not the left side of the table, depending on what side of the table you're on. This isn't like apparel where you know what the left and right side of a garment is going to be. As I'm looking at it, I'm just going to call this the left. And then for the right, I'm going to call this the right because I'm going by me looking at it. All right. Next thing that I do is pretty much figure out what elements I want on here. Now, this isn't going to be hard at all. I'm going to go ahead and group this. And I'm going to call this table my 71 by 30 by 30. And I'll just call it my 6-foot table. And this is a very, very common size table. All right. Now, because I already have this templated out for this bar wrap, I'm going to show you a few things that's already embedded in here. You can use your foreground, background. This is actually one of the backgrounds. I used a vector image for the DJ, and I had his logo, his QR code, and some images there. But you can also use the elements from the t-shirt that you designed or the backdrop you designed. All right, this is just kind of giving you that example. I'm going to go ahead and turn on this one that says turn off for printing. And then you have your left and right components. I'm going to take this entire thing, everything including that background. I'm going to hold down Shift, grab it all, and tell it to duplicate, but I want to make sure that I'm on the right layer here. I'm going to create a fresh new solid color layer and bring that all the way to the bottom. Turn off everything right now. Make sure that I have this layer selected, because when I go to duplicate the layers, I'm going to tell it I want it onto that new document. Oh, I know what I forgot. Hold on. Let me undo that for a second. I need to go back to image size. And I'm going to take this down, my resolution down to 15 pixels per inch while I'm moving all this stuff around. Then that way, when I go move all of the elements here, duplicate the layers, I really need that not to say untitled. So I need to get on my save dance. All right, and remember this DJ booth was a stand-up booth. So it was a lot taller. Now what I'm going to do is just take those elements, everything here, and let me group those. Turn off my auto select because that's going to be rather annoying. I have something locked here. What do I have locked? Probably my sections. Yep. So I have my sections locked here. I'm going to go ahead and unlock them. And the way that you unlock them, you can click on the locks individually, or you can select everything that has a lock and just hit the lock button up at the top of the layers. So I'm unlocking that right now. And then what I'm going to do is I am going to right click and copy the layer style, or this is a shape. So it's going to be copy the shape attributes. So I'm going to copy the shape attributes. I'm going to select all 3 of my pieces here and paste the shape attributes. Turn it back on. And now the sections that I have for the DJ booth are different than the sections that I have for the table. And for my elements for the left and right, it's pretty much the same idea. It's just I don't have all of the height that I had before with the standing table. So whatever I have on the left side, I'm gonna see what all I want to keep over here, whether it's the logo or the QR code, whatever you decide that's gonna stay. So I'm gonna keep it simple with the accent one and the QR code. Then what I do is I'm not gonna redesign the left and the right each time. I'm gonna design the left, duplicate that layer or duplicate that group and call it right. Make sure that I'm not on auto select and I'm just gonna drag it on over here. All right, and now we can turn back on the auto select because I need to move my background around here. And I'm wondering why my show transform controls is not actually showing. If I do Control T, it will make it show. And see here, you have to be a little creative with how much of your background you're going to use. Or you could do, say, for instance, you can do the background design on the front, solid colors or print or pattern on the sides. That's completely up to you. I'm just going to resize the graphic to where take a little time. I'm going to take all my colors and this at the same time, pull it out. So even that little detail that's here for this background looks good, but I also have it recoloring. So this is pretty much already got like a little smart object, smart color involved in it. So you can just change out the background. You can change out the colors, the photos, and a little bit of the text. And this is pretty much a ready to go project for you. Now you may or may not want your photos in there, but if you do want your photos, let me go ahead and set that up for you. I'm just gonna resize it now because we don't have all that height like we did before. So we have to be a little bit smarter about that. And maybe since this is a longer bar, maybe I don't stack congrats grad, or maybe I do. But you could also do it the long way, the length of the bar there. Yeah, let's do this one side by side just to show that it can't be different. And I'm just gonna center that. Place it below the photos. And I believe I'm gonna take this logo. And this is just to make it a really simple idea using the accents and elements that you've already been using this whole time. Now here's an issue. It's difficult to pick up this object because it's on auto select. So I'm going to turn auto select off so that it understands that I want to move that. And honestly, I think I like that better than the congrats grad with the logo. All right, so really and truly, that's it. This is the main template for the DJ booth. Now what I've done is I've shown you how you can create, and I'm gonna do save as. Copy this title here. And for my untitled that's begging to be saved, let me do File, Save As. All right, so this is going to be the desk wrap, and then we're going to put the dimension on here. So this one is technically 71 by 30 by 30. And maybe you want to make an alternate one where it is standing height or at least has the facade taller. And then let me make sure I save everything before I show you how to make a variation. We'll keep that one like that. Save it. All right, now once I have it saved, it's grayed out. I can do a save as or a save a copy. I'm going to do a save as. And then I am going to make this one the height of the other one, which I believe is 40. Don't get me the lion. It is, height is 47. So if I wanted this, my table to be down low and I wanted a really high facade, that's what I'm going for right now. And let me rename this and save it, clean that up. Boom, boom. All right, so now that I have it saved, I'm going to do a save as. And now I'm going to make this height 46. And then I'm going to take this entire title. All right, I just renamed this folder here, but the size didn't change. I just changed the title of a layer. If I go back to properties, here's what I like to do. I like to create an artboard. So I'll take this color fill layer. It really doesn't matter which one. Let's take the yellow one since it probably stands out more. I'll right click and I want to do an artboard from this layer. And then I'm going to paste the name here. What it's going to be is that title that I named the folder. Hit OK. And then I'm going to tell it what this dimension is going to be. It's going to be 71. And I have to put the IN for inches just in case. The height is going to be 46. Oh, and it's 30 plus 30, so 71 plus 60. Was that a 131? Y'all don't make me lie because I am so tired. I may just allow myself to make things up. 131. All right, so now this is going to be 131 with 46 height. All right, and I just fit everything in there. Let's turn off. It's black for now. And now look how my artwork looks totally different just because my dimensions of my table wrap has changed. That's why you can't just imagine that even if you have 3 or 4 different table sizes, you still have to be creative about what you're going to put in those spaces because it's not going to be the same every time depending on the height and the width of the table. So you're going to have to charge accordingly for that. Now, because all I did was change the height, I'm actually just going to pull this down to this height. And it is 46 because the width was the same. Remember, the side panels was 30 wide, but now instead of 30 by 30, it is 30 by 46. And then I'll just take my elements here, go auto select. 'Cause And I'm just utilizing those elements there. And let me make this background black because I had a little blend mode going on to make that look good. And now we can see I have a little more space, so I can add that. Let me delete my right because, like I said, I like to get the left right first, because normally your left and your right are going to be identical because nobody's looking at the left and the right at the same time. All right, I'm going to move these up just a tad bit. Don't get too close to your edges because you never know what you're going to have to cut off. And I'll take these three, make sure that they're evenly spaced. If that's my left side, I'm going to duplicate and call that my right. Notice that I just got rid of my previous right one. Turn off auto select. And I'm holding down shift so I can only slide it left or right instead of, it won't let me go up and down. All right, and then for this one, let's say I want to just straight up use the vector background. All right, so it looks like everything's in place. I may make this one a little bit larger just to be similar to the scale of the one on the right. All right, so I'll go ahead and save that one. Now, at the moment, I have 3 different size table wraps, booth wraps, registration desks, whatever you want to call them. And I'm going to go ahead and just save and close this. Left and right. And I didn't even use like my foreground background. I just used the background itself. This one, I didn't use the background at all. I just used the elements. And maybe now, since I have a little extra space, I'm just going to show a little variation of it. Now, mind you, I don't have to use any of these elements. I could straight up do an entirely different design from the DJ booth to the rest of the decor, but when it's simple, it's just simple. All right, I'm going to go ahead and save this. I like to leave my little green lines on while I'm laying things out and mocking it up. So I'll show you that next. All right. So this is the mock-up of similar size desk as the DJ booth, but I need it to look a little bit different depending on whether I'm going to have it be the table with the height or table without the height. So for this one, I'm going to do a save. Oops, no, I'm going to go ahead and save that. And then what I'm going to do is a new smart object via copy. I'm going to call this my 6 foot. So this was basically my 71 by 30 by 30. And the reason why I'm doing this is because each of these variations need to have its own little mock-up because it's not going to appear the same once it's mocked up. So I'm going to new smart object via copy. And again, if you've ever seen me do new smart object via copy, it's because I want to duplicate the product, but I don't want every instance of it to change simultaneously. I want to create independent editing within each of these. So that's what new smart object via copy does. All right, so let's go ahead. And I'm going to show you how this actually mocks up. So I'm going to delete all of my little stuff here. And I'm going to show you how to mock this up. Now, this may look familiar. These are the mock-ups that I was generating in Hicksfield so that they look clean. They look like something I can put on my website. And you can see it kind of exaggerated the flutes here. So we get that type of texture on this. If you're using foam board or any other type of material, it may not have this corrugated kind of bumpy line texture. All right, so I'm going to go above my mock-up. And I'm going to copy that name here. All right, and then let's go ahead and determine what this size is going to be. This one is 71 by 30 by 30. This one is going to be 71 by 46 by 30. $71 by 30, no, 46 by 30. All right, so first thing that I'm going to do is take the alternative that we just designed here. And I'm going to look for the one that has 46. And just drag and drop it on here. Now this is going to be a little bit difficult depending on what your comfort level is with doing distortions, but I'm going to show you the easy way. That's why I left the green on. I bring in one version of it, keep it straight and make it small. Then I duplicate that. And my goal is to make this piece the height and continue until I snap to the bottom edge of that. And I know it looks weird right now, but I'm going to show you what I do with it. All right. So the one that's just my little sample, I turn the eyeball off. The one that I'm going to manipulate, I bring the opacity down so I can actually see the edges. I'm going to duplicate it because I want to leave one straight. I'm going to duplicate it again because I don't need to see all three sides. I'm only going to see the right side and the front. But one of these I want to leave completely straight, and just until if I just happen to jack it up all the way, like it just doesn't look right when I distort it, I always have my original straight piece there. But I don't need it right now, so I'm going to turn that off. And then as I have this layer selected, this is going to be my front facade. I'm going to go to Edit, Transform, and the easiest one to do is just go to Distort. I'm going to zoom out a little bit so you can see what I'm doing here. My objective is to get this green line pretty much lining up this edge of this 3/4 turned desk wrap. All right, so I'm going to pull on this little node here. And trust me, you're going to think you know exactly what to do. And as soon as you move one node, another one's going to go fly in a different direction, and it's going to make you want to pull your hair out. Just like I'm moving this one here. Let's see if I have a little more luck. Pulling in the side here. That might be about right. All right, and then I'm going to click on this little node here, and I'm just focused on this middle piece. And as you can see, it gets a little uncomfortable. But eventually you start feeling like you know what you're doing. And what I'm looking for right now, these little green lines, I'm looking to line up with the edge of the product. And I have to give it just a little bit of overhang so that it clips in there well. All right, so that's about it. I'm going to go ahead and lock that in and hit enter. Now for me, because I already have this, these pieces framed up, I'm going to go ahead and bring this towards my inside of my front folder. Bring the opacity up to 100. See if it makes sense. And then I'm going to start on that side piece. So it's already got a lower opacity because we set that up earlier. I'm just going to bring this one here. And the goal is to get the green lined up on that side there, which is going to squish up kind of significantly because I didn't really account for a wider part there. All right, so I have it squish just a little bit there. I'm going to go to transform and then distort. And distort is where I get to pull and manipulate here a little bit. Right. You see, I'm pulling on this quite a bit to get this green line to line up over here on this edge. All right, I think my 8 o'clock alarm is going off now. And we're almost done with this facade, y'all. And I promise, like I said, I'm going to give you these files. There's actually 3 different desk sizes, but you get the gist of how to change those elements out. Now this one, I'm going to drag into my right side here. Bring the opacity all the way up. And I'm playing with my blend mode here. I'm going to put the blend mode of these 2 on multiply so that you can see that texture of that core plast underneath, at least just slightly. It just makes it look more believable. And then when I'm done, I can go ahead and remove my little green mark. So I'm going to double click on my image. And when it says turn off for printing, I'm going to turn it off. And before I do that, I could go ahead and add some guidelines that may help us as we're going along. Because the guidelines won't show up on the mockup, on the printable file. All right, so that's it for this one. That's my 71 by 46 by 30. Now, do not go and just create all these different dimensional or different size of the same thing. Don't go mocking it up for each style for your customer. Just give them the one that you think works best. If they're going to be doing standing demonstrations of products, then you may want to do a standing height. If they're going to be sitting down in the booth and kind of maybe add a computer showing people things, then go for that lower desk height there. Jennifer, I know we actually talked about this. I want to say last year when I did this DJ booth, because I think you were doing a DJ project, right? Yeah. Yeah, and I know you get excited about the DJ stuff. So, and I'm calling this a DJ booth, but like I said, this is a table wrap. This is if you go out and you do events. Y'all remember those little trifold boards that we used to do science fair projects with? This folds up just like that. So you can travel with it. Now, the longer your table is, the longer this board is going to be, obviously, but you can even score it again and fold it in half so that it's portable and you can carry it along with you. So the DJ was really excited about this because it gave his booth like a hot look for very, very, very little in terms of what he would have paid to have an actual construction done of like with wood board or aluminum, that sort of thing, with real hinges. This is lightweight. You could throw some LED lights behind this bad boy and make it go crazy. Okay. Now, a couple of things you can do to attach. The table's going to be inside of here. So you can just use Velcro, like it's called industrial Velcro. I like to use the one that's hard on both sides. Sometimes you can use the other one where it's like kind of fuzzy on one side and hard on the other side. But I use the one where it's hard on both sides because it clips real clean and real nice, and it gives me an even edge. You can also use a double-sided tape. You can use that kind of thick alien tape, which is kind of expensive, but that works as well. I like the idea of the Velcro because if this, for instance, is a DJ booth or a table that you're setting up often, you can actually just leave the Velcro onto the DJ booth, the metal facade, or the plastic table. And that way you can actually staple it or nail it in, fasten it in a little bit more secure way. So every time you bring out your board, it knows it is going to go exactly in the position that you want it to go in. All right, so I'm going to do one more of these, okay? I'm going to save this one. Oh, and let me turn off that background here, because I want it not to have a background. All right, so see how I have those two totally different looks right there for my bars? I have one more that I'm going to do the 71 by 30 by 30. Now this one, what I'm going to do is show you another way that we can replace all these pieces, and it may or may not fit into place. What I can do here is make sure that I have my 30 by 30 saved, and I believe I do in a folder. Let me just double check. Yeah, I do have it saved. Now, if I want to change every instance of this, I can right click on the gray area, and I'm going to replace the contents there. It's going to say, hey, what do you want to replace it with? And I'm going to replace this with my shorter version, my 71 by 30 by 30. So when I hit place, look at how it's shorter, but this is okay. This is going to give me an idea of how short I need to make this new coroplast. Now, if you see that on the template for the mockup, I've already done this mockup for you, so you don't have to do all these steps. And as a matter of fact, once this is done, you'll have this file as well. I'm going to take, and I'm going to squish down. I'm going to hold down Shift, and I'm just going to squish down my coroplast until it's about the size of my graphic there. Now, is it going to be perfect? No, because this is not the right orientation, okay? I'm going to go and turn these off. Then this gives me an idea. but I can take this particular piece here, go to edit, transform, distort. And now I'm close to what I should be. I want to see my green line there. Remember, the green line is what's going to help us make sure we have this set up right. Oh, I know what I have to do. I have to delete this layer mask and then go back to distorting this, transform, distort. And let me also bring the opacity down so I can see where my green lines are. Now there's a perspective tool that works pretty well for this too, but what I don't like about it, it doesn't like me using all of the sides together. Like you see, I have the left and the right attached to the front. This is how I do it when I'm cheating and I'm using the left and the right while it's attached to the front. And you see me just manipulating, and I'm only worried about this facade right now, just the front. And you see me just tweaking it until I feel like it's about there. And I'm almost there. All right, that's it. I'm gonna go ahead and hit enter. Now this is just for the front. Now what I did before is I already had the front kind of mapped out. What you can do is you can take your pencil here. And let's create a shape. But instead of making it a shape, I'm gonna make it a selection there. And then on the front folder, boom, just create a layer mask, turn this on, and now everything that I have, even though it's going on the excess here, if you remember, if I turn this, disable that layer mask, you see how I had all that extra out there? I'm just making sure that it fits inside. Then I'll do the same thing for that left side. However, for this one, I'm sorry, the right side, let me delete that layer mask. And because this one is all like really so distorted. Yeah, this one is even curved. So I'm going to delete this one. And just create a new version of this one. I'm going to duplicate it. Make sure I'm on my move tool. Make sure I turn my opacity down. Like I said, I'm just concerned about this right section here. I'm going to give myself about the right height. That's about the right height here. And then I'm going to go to edit, transform, distort. Squish it in a little bit here. Move these nodes. And like I said, I'm following this green line, getting as close as I need to. And then moving my other nodes. To give me about the perspective that I want. Don't go too far, buddy. And I'm telling y'all, when y'all truly get this together, y'all gonna be telling yourself that Canva could never. It is way too difficult to do this in Canva and have repeatable results. Y'all, once I set this up, this is a mock-up template for life. That is a smart template that all I have to do is just change out some elements and I'm done. All right, so in order to get this side, I'm going to show you a new trick. Come on over here to your object selection tool. Make sure that you're on the bottom layer that has the full image here. And I'm going to just kind of grab this little cutout here and see if it just selects that edge, and it does. So for my right side, now I can use that to create my layer mask. And the piece that I just manipulated was for the right side. Let me turn it on, and it fits. All right, now I'll go ahead and change this opacity to 100 and make this blend mode multiply. Make this blend mode opacity 100%, blend mode on multiply. Looks good. Then I go into my image, turn off my green marks. Well, I'll bring them back for a moment just so I can snap some guidelines to it. And make sure you don't put any text or anybody's eyeballs or facial features, anything important, anywhere near the cutoff edge or the fold. Right? You don't want somebody's face folding in the middle because then it'll look like a hammerhead shark by the time their eyes wrap around this whole table. Great question, Jennifer. So if this one is what you're going to be doing for this one is using multiple boards. If you're doing a 6-foot table, because the tables can go up to 8 feet wide, and then of course you can use 8-foot material. But for this one, what you would end up doing is taking these two side pieces, creating them separately, leaving a tab behind it so that you can use double-sided banner tape to create a flap that would extend this graphic. But that's a great question, Jennifer. Excellent question. All right. All right. So let's see. I'm got this one how I need it. Let's save. Close out of the window. Oh, I still didn't turn off. I was like, I told it to turn off the green, but I didn't tell it to turn off the green. There we go. And I could probably do a little bit more cleaning up and tweaking here. So let's say, for instance, I want that to be a little cleaner, sharper edge there for that right side. I'm just going to hit delete, clean that up. All right, that worked. And I am cleaning this up just because when it did that automatic selection with the AI, it was a little messy. Now I'm going to come on outside of here. And for that right side, let me grab my paintbrush here. I'm going to add white here. My brush is so large. There we go. Oh, oops. I'm on the wrong side. I need to select the inverse. And what I'm doing is I'm just adding to this little corner here, just so we can look a little sharper. And then that way I feel comfortable cutting that off at the top. Looks good. All right, so I've essentially made 3 different looking dimensions of the table wrap, and I actually made 3 different templates because all 3 of these are different sizes. So One is going to be for a 6-foot table that only has the that's flush at the top as a 30-inch height. One is going to be a 6-foot table that has a standing height facade, which will give me some space to kind of add some things to the table without it being seen. And then the other will be for the precisely for that portable DJ booth that I showed you. All right, and then this one. I'm going to take this naming convention here. Name this folder. That way if I'm sending this to a client, and even if I just want a quick export as PNG, this particular setup, get rid of that, get rid of that. And of course, I'm not showing them all these different sizes, but I do know based on, you know, what my setup is going to be. Am I doing a DJ booth? Am I doing a registration table? Either way, we have a few different options here of how this could look. So I'm going to take all 3 of these. And now I'm going to combine them for you. All right, let's duplicate this group. All right, so I have the 71 by 30 by 30, the 71 by 46 by 30. And then my actual DJ booth size, which is this one. This one is 44 by 47 by 21. All right, so this is going to be your class file. So what I want y'all to see that I did here, I made 3 different mock-ups depending on which size you'll be displaying. Just stick with one. As far as what you display to the client. If you should need to or want to display more than one, you can do that as well. I don't want you to be overwhelmed. This one here, let me go into it and turn off the green. But before I turn off the green, let me give you some guidelines here. Snap them, snap them. Whew, I hope that this was helpful for you all. I hope that the way that I'm doing the classes now, I know it's not as baby walking through flipping out elements, which is typically what we do for our Photoshop classes. What I want to do now, because I'm more focused on the craft to quit side, I'm showing you how I make these things, and then I'm giving you what I made. Okay, so I'm showing you how I did it. I'm giving you the shortcut version. So now it should only take you 5 minutes to flip out these designs. And this one has a little bit more white on the edge, but I actually kind of like that. It looks more realistic. All right, so I'm going to keep the DJ booth there. I think that was the one that I like the statement of it more. And I don't know which one I like better because these are very similar in size and style. I think I'm going to keep that one. All right. Save that one now. And just to make sure I have the right one, I'm going to add a background to it so I can make sure I keep the correct one. I'm going to delete the other ones because I don't need to show all 3. I just need to be able to show one of them at a time. And voila, this is your, if I go to save as, this is your template number 352. This is the Mockup. The vinyl that I use it's an HP. There's a HP matte and an HP glossy. Believe it or not, I like the matte because I feel like the matte doesn't add all that additional glare when people are taking photos, and it kind of gives it a clean, um, flat look. But the glossy is nice too. Glossy, I love to see glossy as like floor wraps. I don't like to see glossy as my backdrops because, like I said, it catches so much light that I think it doesn't do as much justice if it was matte. I feel the same way about vinyl banners. Like if I have a glossy vinyl banner as a backdrop, I'm not too excited. If I have a nice, clean matte backdrop, then especially if it's fabric versus vinyl, that fabric just softens that light up so much better. All right, so that's it. That's your template. I'm going to be dropping this on the back end of class right now. Let me go ahead and save this. And like I said, you can rock with any of those. Oh, let me tell y'all this before I send y'all this file. All right, so let's say we're going to go with this style here. If I want to do this printable, remember the design file is embedded in here. I'm going to double click here. I'm going to image size. Now, do not dare save it as 150 pixels per inch as a Photoshop file. What you're going to do is put it as 150 pixels per inch. And because your images are smart objects and not just pixelated little bitmaps, it still has pixels. They are still bitmaps, but they are large scale saved in a small format. So see how that still looks crisp and clean? All right, so now I can take this, and while I have it, remember, my image size right now is at 100. Oops, let's see, image, not canvas size, image size is what I want to go to. See how my image size is 150 pixels per inch? I'm going to File, Export, Quick Export as a PNG. And that is what I'm going to merge and save as a 150 pixels per inch. So this one, I'm going to tell it that this is my print. Now, if you're having someone print this vinyl for you and then you're laying it out on the Coroplast or on the foam board, that's one deal. If you're having them actually apply it to the Coroplast, just like Jennifer asked, keep in mind that they can only do, excuse me, they can only do 8-foot boards. There is a such thing as 10-foot boards, but people rarely carry them. So let me show you what to do if you were to print. All right, how big do you make your flaps? Perfect. How big is your banner tape? So usually I do 1-inch banner tape. So I do a 1-inch flap. Okay, if you're doing 3/4 inch tape, maybe you do a 3/4 inch flap, but I wouldn't go smaller than, I would just stick with 1 inch. Okay, and let me show you, Jennifer, how you would print that, because now remember my image size, I done bumped this thing up. Let me show y'all image size. So see, it's 387 megabytes right now. When I take it back down to 15 pixels per inch, it's 3.8 megabytes, 100 times smaller. So I'm going to say okay to this because I do want it to stay back in that smaller size. Control S to save, Control W to close out. Now let's say I'm getting ready to print, right? I'm printing the PNG that I did at the 150 pixels per inch. So that's why this one says print. I can double click on it. All right, now I'm going to make a print board. And I've shown y'all this time and time again, but let's do it one more time. Let's say you're going to have somebody actually lay this out, print it, and adhere it to the Coroplast. Then this is going to be since we're doing wide, I'm going to say 96 by 48. That's a 4x8 board. So this width is going to be 96. The height is going to be 48. This is also how you can see how much you can fit onto a board, whether you're going to have space to do some cutouts or some big heads or anything like that. Let's go ahead and create. Now my image size on this is 100 pixels per inch. So if I am going to place my image, I was going to resize it more than likely. Let me see. I believe it is. So that's my print file. If I drag and drop it on here, it's probably going to fit it to the extent of this board, which is going to be too small. But because I know this is 71 inches by 30 by 30, I think that ended up being 131 if I'm not mistaken. If I go to Control T and change the width in inches, I'm going to right click instead of percent. For inches, it's telling me it's 96 inches. I need it to be 131. Okay. And then this ends up being, let's hit plus sign or check mark here to lock it in. This is up being 131 by 46 inches high, but my board is 48 inches tall, 96 inches wide. I'm going to go ahead and just zero that out a little bit. And let's tell it to, I want to make an art board from this layer. All right, so I'm just going to make a new artboard, and this one is going to be a 96 by 48. Now, this isn't a canvas, it's going to be an artboard. Why? Because I'm going to show you that I'm going to need more than one artboard to break down this file, just like Jennifer asked. So the width for this one is going to be 96 inches. The height is going to be 48 inches. All right, see how that kind of cropped it all down? And then what I can do is I'm going to duplicate this artboard. So now this will be panel 1 to print, and this will be panel 2 to print. Now, what I'm going to do, as a matter of fact, let me delete that first. I'm going to just grab my middle piece first anyhow. And I should have left maybe a little bit of, sometimes I use a very, very faint light gray line just to help me line things up. But since I don't have that, I'm going to create a box that is 71 inches by 46 inches. Do Control A because I want to select all. Go to my move tool and just center it. And then what I'm going to do is bring this image above my rectangle, right click, create a clip and mask. All right, so here's going to be this is what I'm going to do. While I'm here, I'm going to just go ahead and make all 3 pieces. Duplicate the layers, turn that off. This rectangle is going to be, I'm going to take off the link here because I want it to stay 46 in height, but I only want it to be 30 in inches. Right? That's the one we're working on. Yeah. All right, boom. Take the rectangle, turn off auto select. And I'm going to create 2 rectangles. And I'm going to clip an image to each of the rectangles. This will be my right side. Boom, lock it in. Let's see how it snaps when you get real close. Boom, snaps. And now that you have this as a printable file, if I go and I double click and I change this image out, it's going to create my printable panels. All right, so what I'm going to do, instead of making different artboards, I'm going to make this simple, and I'll call this group panel. Well, let's do left and right. Now, what you can do for this is you can, like Jennifer, you asked me about, I'm going to move this over a little bit, creating tabs. I don't necessarily measure those things out. I literally will lay my banner tape there, and then I will slice next to the banner tape, because this is coroplast. So if you laid your image out correctly, or if whoever you're having this lays it out correctly, then it should be going along the flutes anyway. And then you can just slice right on down right next to the banner. Don't slice all the way through, but what we call score in front of it so that it bends, and then cut to the right of it so that it cuts it off. And then that way I don't have to tell it where, where my flaps are. I'm just creating flaps because I have a tolerance. Right? So now I'll go ahead and I'll give y'all this too. So this will be like your printable. So this is these are your panels. I'll go ahead and group this. Boom. Group. That's your panel front. And I like to put my measurements anytime I'm having something printed. Anytime I'm having something printed and I'm sending it, even if I'm sending it to myself to print it, I put measurements in front. So this one is going to be 71 by 46. And then this one is going to be, it's actually two different pieces, but let me go ahead and determine with that tolerance what this is. This is about, and if I let my banner edge or my banner tape edge be to the left and to the left, and I'm actually going to move this in a little bit, because why waste extra material if I don't have to? I'm just going to bring this in a little bit. So I have enough room to cut it clean off, but I still have plenty of room to put my banner tape. All right, that way, I'm going to make sure that the background is transparent here. And I'm just going to snap to this edge here so I can get the dimensions. So this is 64 inches wide and 48 inches tall. Or really, it's 46 tall. Because I have that extra space on the edge there. And the reason why I'm counting the space over to the left is because I want to keep that for, I don't want them to trim that off. I want to keep that so I can put my banner tape there. And then this is 64 wide. Okay. So now you can see what fits on a 4x8 board. I got some space here now. I could take some of my little elements and make some big heads, some cutouts right there, maybe a couple of fans. And I would say some big heads. You probably could fit like one big head right there. Depending on how many large format projects you're doing, I have tiled smaller projects before. I prefer not to, because I don't like when you can see tiling in an image, but it is possible. So with the 24-inch printer, you could definitely tile this because you can print on roll media and you could do 46, 48 inches twice, right? That's not that much tiling. What I don't like is when we're tiling and we're putting 6 and 8 sheets together to make one image. I've seen many people do that. It just, to me, I always see the seams. I'm a stickler for that. And I just prefer not to have that kind of anxiety in my life. All right. But if you have a 24-inch printer, absolutely. I know these panels are 64 by 46. Just print it as if it's one long piece. Mount it to your coroplast board, whether you're doing it with the squeegee or you're doing it with the laminate, the cold laminator. whatever process you're using, lay it out as those long pieces and then go and cut them, because all you're doing is laying out 2 long pieces and then you're cutting those individual pieces out. That makes sense? So 24-inch printer is great if you have to tile that, because that's what a lot of people are going. They're going to Walgreens and they're getting those 24-inch prints. They're not printing 48 inches for y'all at Walgreens, right? Just make sure that you're using a good permanent adhesive vinyl, or if you're not doing permanent, make sure that it's a quality, a removable, or they call repositionable and removable. Make sure it's both of those, repositionable, or it can just be removable if you don't plan to put it back down again. If you're doing floor wraps, that sort of thing, make sure that you're using the right materials, because you can go messing somebody's venue up and owing them thousands of dollars because you done peeled some paint off the floor. Okay, or the epoxy or whatever it is finish that they have. All right, so that's it. I'm gonna go ahead and get that to y'all. So I will call this print file. Oh, let me show you print setup. Instead of calling it print, I'm just gonna call it setup. Or we'll call it print prep setup. Because when I see the word print, I just think I need to go ahead and print it. So I'm going to save this one as your prep setup. It's just flat PNGs in here. It's nothing crazy, no whole bunch of layers. So this file is not going to be large. All right. So when you get ready to print, all right, we'll take this one here, and I can even just put the word print in front. Select 1 and 2, quick export as PNG. And now I have my 2 printable pieces, and they will now be in the file as PNGs ready to print. So is this helpful? I really want to focus more on the event preparation files, the printing, how you prepare these files, how you send them to printers, or how you print yourself if you plan on printing yourself. Now let me show you what the outcome is here, so y'all don't think I'm crazy. Like, wait a minute, it's all stacked on top of itself now. Let me show you what it does. Okay, so now it gave me just this part here that I would send to my printer as the exact size. And where's the other one? Oops. Here it is. And technically, I've set this the exact size that I need it to be. So when I assemble these pieces together, it should make one continuous wrap. And I would have, as a matter of fact, I should have put my strip on the left side of the right piece and on the right side of the left piece. If I'm leaving, leaving that space there. So if this is my right side, I want my flap over here. If this is my left side, I want my flap in the middle. So basically, this is giving me enough to split down the middle and put my 2 banner pieces side by side. So make sure that you leave yourself a little bit of space. I might give y'all a little more space in between these 2. That way I could take this one all the way to the edge there. And my graphic, I didn't realize I didn't have that graphic going to the edge. So that is my issue there. I messed up on that one. Not many people will pay attention to that, but like I said, I'm a stickler myself. I like for my stuff to work right and work the first time. I'm just going to give it a little bit of edge there. And if you want to know what it looks like if you were to make your flaps, I'll make some flaps for you real quick, just in case you doubt yourself. Boom, I'll make a flap that is 1 inch wide and 46 inches tall. Make sure I put the eye in so it knows it's inches. Boom, that's my flap, right? I'm going to release the clipping mask. I don't want it clipped to anything. And this is where I was saying, I'll turn the fill off and turn the stroke to a very, very light gray. And let's set it to the outside. And when I say light gray, either you can change your opacity to be really light, or you can just choose a color that is truly light, just a tad bit darker than the white. That way you don't give yourself away. And I'm going to make it a little bit darker so you can see it. And let's just give you a little solid color in the background so you can see what I'm doing here. And I'm going to turn the solid color off. I just make it an annoying color for right now, so I remember to turn it off. All right, so here, and I'm going to make my stroke go inside, inset. So it's not going to be bigger than my graphic. Now I just make it butt up with this edge here. All right. And I'm going to show you all something. Whenever you make your flaps, you don't want it to be exactly straight across, because then you'll see it at the top edge there. What you want to be able to do, and you can just do this with your knife. I don't even have to make this, a cutout for you, but you just take that corner and you slice it down. Don't ever leave that little edge up there, because when you try to match it up here, you're going to see that edge, and it's never going to be pretty when it's popping out the top. So if you trim it back at an angle, then you won't initially see that popping out the top. But what I'm going to do is put it on each side, just so you can see that I gave you plenty of space to do 1 inch on each side. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. So even if you needed to print it out just like that, just remove that background. And now I can quick export as PNG and save over my last one. Yes, I want to save over it. And now this time when I open it up, it should have the flaps on there. Okay. Oh, you do a countdown for your flap corners? Yep. So Jennifer, you already know what I'm talking about then. Okay. So it seems like me and Jennifer just had a one-on-one tonight. She was the only one interested in what we're doing in class tonight. I hope that this is interesting to you all. The reason why I say this, nobody taught me any of this stuff. All right. I learned trial and error. I learned about messing up big old 4 foot by 8 foot boards, y'all. That's how I learned. Okay. Expensive lessons. Expensive lessons. If I had had someone that sat down and made little templates for me and gave me the all of the from A to Z, how to design it, how to scale it, how to upscale it, how to design it in 15 PPI so my computer doesn't crash. If I had had these things, my loves, we'd be way more advanced than now. We'd be designing on Mars. All right. AI wouldn't have nothing on us, because I would have had that much of an advantage. So I'm giving you that advantage. I want to make sure that y'all know that I'm pouring into you what nobody told me before. As a matter of fact, I remember going to sign makers and asking for this kind of information, and it was like taboo even asking them questions like this. I'm like, well, wait a minute. You want me to provide you graphics that you can print one time? No. They like to have their setup. They want you to come to them for the mess ups and the remakes and the printouts, and they want to have your source files, but then they don't want to give you anything. Like, they don't give you any templates to work with. It's crazy, y'all. It's crazy. But if you're going to be producing professional level graphics, which I know that you can and you will, then I just want to give you the expectation that you can do this on a pro level. You can go pro from home. You do not have to be in a shop. You do not have to be paying overhead for a workspace. You can literally, my whole house right now is a workshop. Every single room except for except for where the beds are. The beds are where we sleep. Every other common area in the house is all business. I do not play about my square footage. It's machines, it's tables, it's inventory, it's rolling carts that have the, the wire shelves. So I store vertically, right? That's my life. That's my house. Okay. I don't own no sofa sets. I don't care if you come to my house. You better not be sitting down. You better be helping me make this stuff, and you better be going to bed in your bed. That's it. That's what the bedrooms are for. We don't have no common area other than, of course, where the printers are and the big tables and the layout booths and all of that kind of stuff. That's my idea of fun. So if you're ever my friend and you want to come by my house, just imagine that you're gonna get put to work. So the reason why, okay, let's put it together. Jennifer, if you're still confused, let's put it together. Okay, let's do this. I'm going to close out of this file. And if I'm wrong, I'll show you. I just did it in my head, but I could be wrong. All right. I'm just going to make up a new little artboard here. I don't need it to really be large. I just want to show you the concept here. So I'm going to take my printable pieces. What is my printer going to give me? They're going to give me these two panels and my center panel. I'm just going to go ahead and drag them in. And I'm going to reduce the size of them just so I can show you all on this. And let's make a background color here. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and cut away just like I would if this was on my board. I'm going to cut away one from the other. And let's select the inverse. All right, so if this is my right panel, this is my left panel. Or what you could do too is you can put the flaps on the edge of the front panel. I just imagine that front panel could be up to 8 feet wide by itself because we do have 8-foot tables. So I want you to save that long piece for as long as it possibly can be, because you can always add flaps to the left and right side. So if this is my left side, let me zoom out a little bit, turn on my little yellow. Left, I'm going to push it all the way to the left. Right, I'm going to push it all the way to the right, my centerpiece. Okay, is that making a little sense right now? So this is going to have a white flap that would have the banner tape on it and go behind the front piece. The left side will have a flap that bends as well, and that will go behind the front piece. Does that make sense? And you have to decide where stuff is bending is where you score it. So for this left panel, I'm going to score it in the front. Like I'm going to slice halfway through in the front, not all the way through. And then sometimes you'll need to remove some material from the back. But just this one little panel here, if I score it in the front, it's going to pop and snap, but it's going to have a hinge on the back side. I need to keep that hinge. And then my tape will go on the front of this flap here. And then the front of this flap will go behind the main front piece. And then that's how it will make it look like it's a continuous foldable design there. Okay. Now, if I was basically giving this to the DJ, and let's say he doesn't have it to where he can put this entire thing in his cart, I would go behind it and splice one more time down the middle here. And that would allow it to fold inwards one more time. That way it's a smaller product to carry around. But I didn't cut all the way through it. And that crease will eventually catch up with you because it will crease in the middle of your design, but it also will make it a collapsible design. And that crease will be insignificant when you think about how compact you're going. You can put this on an airplane and travel with it if you needed to. And that's how I told my DJ, because my DJ that I was working with travels a lot. And I was like, hey, we can break this down to where you can put this in your, your travel setup for your DJ booth with your speakers and all that stuff. And this rolls with you. Right. And this is just me just kind of making this stuff up, y'all. It ain't science. Like I said, I just, in my head, I thought about it and I was like, oh yeah, I need to put the flaps on opposite sides. I didn't explain it to you, but I'm glad that y'all asked me that, because it made me explain it to you and it made me demonstrate it. Okay. Because like I said, some tables are 8 feet wide, and you're going to need every little inch of that core glass. So you're going to have to put your flaps on the side instead of on the front piece. Okay. And this is also how you make cubes. Like somebody just mentioned boxes. Yeah. Are you thinking of, yeah, how you close a box? Yep. Okay, but that's it. All right, so what I'm going to do, and let me just, I'm going to put like example assembly. Because this is not a full, this is not what you would print. This is literally very low resolution, just to show you how you would assemble these pieces so you can remember that. All right, so with that, let me go ahead and get your files together, zip them on up. All right, so this is your print. I'm going to make a folder, print, boom, boom. That's where your prints go. And if you had a big enough printer, of course, that could do 131 inches. So I'm going to put 131 here. Most of us don't even have material for that, but just letting you know that that's what it is. Those are your print ready files. This might be like your layout instructions. So we'll just do assembly. I'll drop that one in assembly. And then your mockup is the same as your design. So design and mockup. That's your 352 file. These are just extras I can get rid of now because I've already cleaned those up otherwise. And I'll call this one prep for print. All right, so now let's put numbers on these. I tell you, like I apologize that a lot of times I get into my little systems mode from engineering. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Just so you understand what steps I just did. All right, so then I'll take 1, 2, 3, and 4. Let me zip those together. And I'll drop them on the back end of your course. Let me see if I can do it right now so I can make sure it's done while I'm live. Almost done zipping here. All right, and I'm supposed to be doing a free demo class on Sunday. I believe Customer Happiness, remind me what time on Sunday? Is it 3 o'clock? 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time? Okay, so I'm going to do a full demonstration of the Automizer itself, this event designer. So this is 352 class. Boom, I'll drop this on the back end of the class. never knew that y'all were this interested in me working through stuff, like actually showing you the process. So if y'all are no longer interested in that, let me know that too. Jennifer, you are, because I sometimes I prepare stuff so well in advance as far as a template that I miss y'all having those questions and those nuances of like how you actually perform and produce this stuff, and what the major takeaways are. Because a lot of times I pre-make like the smart colors, and I pre-make all of the layers and the elements, and I pre-do all the measurements and stuff. And I think this way it helps you to understand not only how you can do exactly what I did, and now you don't have to because you have the template file as well, but now you understand how to modify it for any project that comes your way. And that's what I think, now that we have mostly advanced folks, mostly OGs in the tribe, I'm aiming towards doing more of that for you all, because I realized my OGs stopped coming to my Photoshop classes so much because I was like, man, I could flip a template with my eyes closed, but we can't just be flipping templates. So I did want to make sure that I give you all something more solid to chew on. Okay. I'm literally showing you how I, not only how I design for my millionaire clients, but I also show you how I'm basically templatizing things, creating processes, creating systems. So I'm glad that y'all feel that way. All right, so that file takes forever to upload, but at least it's small in 5 megabytes, so it is uploading. That's going right now. Let me see, was there anything else I wanted to show y'all? I'm gonna turn that off now. Boom, boom. So our little 353 or 352 is together. Anything else that you all absolutely, Coach Nancy, please come and help out. As a matter of fact, anybody who really knows the Automizer, I'm just doing a demo. When I'm done with my demo, I'm busting up out of that room. I'm not going to stay. So anybody that knows how to do the Automizer, knows how to help one another, y'all are welcome to, and I don't expect customer happiness to stay in there either. If you want to, I can leave the Zoom room up to y'all, and this is what y'all can do. Coach Nancy, you can have a set price to help people further along, or whoever also is a Craft to Quit member, have your set price, and then you can do the breakout rooms. Okay, y'all can do breakout rooms to help one another, get things set up if you need to. That's all up to you. I do want to start opening up the Zoom rooms more frequently. I may just do like evenings and weekends for right now, just to kind of get you all in the process of helping one another and having that open. But eventually, I really do want the Zoom room to be like a 24-hour, 24/7 place where you can go and get help. Somebody can design for you, or they can design with you, or they can teach you through the Zoom, and have you, just like I teach in class where I draw on your screen and can help you move your mouse. I want y'all to be able to do that stuff too for one another. Because here's the thing, I have literally not just created clones of myself. You all are like supercharged versions of me, because you actually work in these templates more than I do. When I make it one time, I don't like to look at it again. I like to make something new and something different. Make more tools for y'all. Every week I'm making a different tool for y'all. So last week, what did we do last week? Last week we made lockers, right? This week we made the lockers last week. Week before that we made the books, and now we have the desk here. We've done accordion walls, arches, cubes. Is there anything that I'm missing that you all want to see that's not on here? Anything I'm missing? No, I don't have the acrylic long stem rose, Christy, in the Automizer. However, if that's something that you frequently use, you can make a suggestion, because I'm having you all make suggestions for what's going to be next in the Automizer, because we're going to be moving forward into we're going to be doing a small event. Like, I'm showing you how to do that airline event, but that event also could be for, especially with the airline theme, for baby shower, graduation, birthday party theme. That whole travel and flight theme is very popular. So we're going to make a small event design template off of that. Then we're moving on to Memorial. Okay. Because I feel like there's so much that we can do with Memorial, and you can start to, over the summer, get those contracts with funeral homes and build those relationships, since you should be able to focus on those projects and not be so pressured with, the holiday and the graduation and that sort of thing. The summer is where you can focus on kids' parties, celebrations, weddings, bridal showers, anniversaries. Just people be outside in the summer. All right. And unfortunately, well, it's fortunate for the funeral business, but unfortunate that, there's never going to be a shortage of memorial projects, because there's never going to be a shortage of people's loved ones passing away. All right. So that is a lucrative business. It is a dependable business, and it's one of the easiest businesses to develop relationships, because those funeral homes are always in business, and they're always looking for partnerships where people can get them fast, quality work. Okay. You don't have to be cheapest. Notice I didn't say cheapest. Fast, quality work. So I really want us to, we're going to focus probably a whole 6 weeks on Memorial, because I feel that strongly about it. Okay. All righty, my loves. Like I said, if I'm missing anything, let me know. I'm going to start building these things up. I even see us doing like a 90s theme. So what we're going to start doing is, little projects along the way each time we do it. If you all are interested in the whole event and party layout and design, then I will start making sure that I break down more of those concepts, and how we prep, how we print, how we submit things to a printer. Like, y'all might even be like, well, dang, we did all this stuff, but how do I organize this and send it to a printer? Well, I put it in a folder that's just for the printer. And then I do not send them any of my, for instance, I showed y'all this folder here, that one that says print. Inside of that folder, I will make a folder that basically, let's say I'm sending it off to my printer. So I'm going to call this printer name, because it might be my printer that I have at home, or it may be a printing business that I use. So printer name, and I'll put share folder. And then inside of that, when these are ready to go, I'll just move them inside of there. All right. And then when it's done, I'll make a folder that says printed or done. And then once my printer has actually printed them and delivered them to me, or I have them in hand, then I'll throw them in that printed done folder. So and the reason why I'm telling y'all this, because when I work with printers and I'm doing a big project, a lot of times I have several pieces that I'm designing. And what I want to do is I want to get them stuff so they can start the printer, because we know that those printers just take whatever time it takes. We can't rush it. Right. So then they can go ahead and start printing these panels while I'm doing the backdrop. Or I might have a few things in here with the big heads and all those other smaller things that they can be printed while I'm designing some of my cubes or my other products, right? So when it's done, I'll put it in the done folder, and when it's ready to print, usually I have a little folder that says to print. All right. And then maybe I share that folder with the printer. Okay. Yes, there will be a Zoom link for Sunday. I didn't plan on it, because I planned on it just being on YouTube. So let me do this. This is what I'll do. I'm just going to do it on YouTube, just so that I can get my part of the class over with. And then I will open up the Zoom room for you all after that. We'll take like a short break. I'll open up the Zoom room, and then y'all can do whatever y'all want to do in that Zoom room. Okay. Because I'm going to probably take me a nap. Just being real. All right. So, and even if I might not take a nap, I might be peeking in on y'all and seeing what y'all doing and seeing how y'all may need my help in order to help one another. All right. I'm looking forward to it. I really want this whole co-working thing to work out. I want this 24-hour Zoom room to work out. Eventually, we're going to get it there, y'all. But your girl has just been real stretched thin lately. So I appreciate y'all working with me. And honestly, I need you to help one another. That's what's going to help me. If y'all can help one another and y'all don't need me, and I can sit here and be creative and come up with the tools and the concepts that y'all need and teach y'all the tools and the concepts, baby, I'm in heaven. If all I have to do is learn so I can teach, pass it on to y'all, and then y'all teach one another. Whew. All right, don't get me too excited. I do need to get some rest tonight. Like I said, I'll see what I can do with the Automizer and packaging it so that I can get it to y'all, because it's right now it's like 6 point something megabytes, which is over the 5 megabytes limit. So that's why I couldn't upload it last night, and I was over here looking crazy until I finally figured that out. Oh, I also have, and I have like this little tiny external hard drive I've been testing out, putting my Automizer on it. It has a really fast thinking hard drive. It's a solid state drive. It is basically the size of a Post-it note. I can carry it around with me and everything. And it has 2 terabytes. And 2 terabytes isn't terribly large, but it's so fast that it works just like the hard drive of my computer. So I've been excited about that. I haven't told y'all about it because I've been testing it out with this Automizer. But even if you have to have the Automizer on an external device, something like this would be ideal. That way you can have some more disk space and scratch disk space. But we'll talk about all of that. Matter of fact, y'all come on Sunday, ask me all the questions about the Automizer, because that's going to be my time to give it to you all, to help out, Coach Nancy. If you have any advanced questions, let me know, because I'll be able to address them then so that you could better help others as well. All right. And yeah, everybody come in mind, if you got some time to help somebody in a Zoom room, have your way that people can pay you $60 right now. If y'all don't have a Stripe account right now, baby, get a Stripe account. Do that for homework tonight. Craft to quit homework. Get a Stripe account. Okay. At the very least, get a PayPal account where you can invoice people $60 for your 1 hour of your time. All right. You got PayPal and Stripe. That's what I'm talking about. All right. And eventually, we'll have some other ways that'll happen. I'm giving y'all the ability right now to, without paying me anything, you can charge people for your time utilizing these templates. As long as they legitimately have templates, they're legitimately using your affiliate code to buy templates, so that gets you paid too. That's what's up. All right, Coach Nancy says she's ready to help anybody that need help. All right. That's what's up. All right, my love. So that's it for tonight. Let me get my brain cells together so I can see what I can do as a solution to uploading this Automizer plus this designer tonight. And I think we're in business, y'all. I think we have a lot of these elements. Oh, only thing I think I'm missing here is a welcome sign. Like basically doing the welcome sign on an easel. That's what I'll do. Let me put that in my notes. Welcome sign on easel. And the retractable banner. I'll make sure that those are both in here. And basically, I don't see what else y'all could possibly need that's not in this thing, and unless you tell me. I did, but I put them on the list of things to do with the airline project. I need to put them on this Automizer bonus that I'm giving y'all. This is a bonus this is the only time I'm gonna give this away. Because this is probably going to be a lot of people asking me about event design. That's why I'm putting y'all on top of the people who really don't even know Photoshop yet. They're really interested in learning event design, and they're willing to learn Photoshop for that. But y'all are already there. Y'all already know Photoshop. So really, you can get into this space just on the digital design side alone. All right, Jennifer is excited, ready to go. All right, I think I have all the pieces, and anything that y'all think of after this, we'll just have to roll it into the next version, okay? All right, so that's it for tonight, my loves. I appreciate you. I love you all so much and so dearly. And until next time, bye. Good night, y'all.